Pence administration, from the Obama administration, is an actual reduction at a time we should be providing more support to secure our border. And we have seen 1,500 Border Patrol agents that are mandated by Congress that are not being hired, and we see a submission of another 300 Border Patrol agents that are being cut. That's approaching almost 10% of our Border Patrol that is not being added, that is not on our border protecting, guarding, and defending America. And with numbers that we've seen here in the Tucson sector in the 3 past years from 82,000 up to 123,000, what is it going to take to put the resources at our border? And we have a lack of enforcement that's going on. You don't have to look anywhere further than here in Pinell County. We're not on the border. People point that out all the time, but it appears that it's even worse. There have been arrests of illegals who are trying to outrun our deputies at high rates of speed that readily admit that they've been deported 8 times, 14 times, 16 times, even 20 times. And the reason why this is happening, don't scratch your head trying to figure this out, is because there's a lack of consequences. And you're going to hear today from Brandon and myself representing these men here, representing 16,000 plus Border Patrol agents. These are the cops. These are the men and women who swore an oath to protect our country. These are the cops at the border. And this administration literally has handcuffed them from doing their job. They have a leader, and Commissioner Gil Kurlikowski, who says that if they don't agree, and our heroes in the Border Patrol don't agree with the Obama administration and this lawlessness that's happening, that they can go find another job. And the president, this is what's happening, that we're deliberately, intentionally, the leaders of those who are in charge of our Border Patrol haven't been assigning to areas that we know are high-trafficked area, or they often call it as X marks the spot. This is where you're assigned. This is your duty position. Meanwhile, there's all kinds of activity in another location. What's happening now is that when an illegal is apprehended, and they're supposed to be given a promise to appear, a notice to appear, and that's not even happening. It could be 30, 60, 90 days, some point out. We already know, it's proven, that a majority of these individuals will never show up for their court hearing. So this is a complete sham. So the fact that the president is saying, well, this is our process, basically it's de facto amnesty, because there's no consequence, there's no enforcement of the law, and there is no tracking of where that person is. We've seen that happen right here in the county. And so all this in the backdrop being the release of 67,000 criminal illegals. These are illegals who aren't just here because they wanted a job or they wanted a better life for their family. All of us get that. The prime motivator for a lot of these individuals, though it's illegal, that's why they're coming. We're talking about the most violent, dangerous criminals. 67,000 of them were released. Last year, 193 of them were convicted murderers. How in the world are we releasing convicted murderers, rapists, and all these violent felons back into our community and then somehow thinking that things are going to be just fine? That's where a lot of this argument, Obama's done no favors for his side of this argument, right? If he just did his job just in this one area, go after the most violent criminal illegals, at least he'd have better standing to criticize the others for not being compassionate. Where's the responsibility he has to the thousands of American citizens who have been victimized, that have been brutally harmed or even murdered? Why doesn't he have an answer for those families? He doesn't. I've met with countless families where their sons or family members have been killed or even murdered by criminal illegals. The president's never talked to them. And maybe he should talk to them instead of putting the priority of 12 million plus illegals, making his priority, instead of Americans and our families the priority first. And that's what I've said. This should be basic. I've never run into anybody who disagrees with that, right? But yet we've seen always overreach, the overreach of the executive branch, and there's 10 months left. And this is where, if we can shine the light of day onto this situation to stop this from happening and support these Border Patrol agents, right? These are our cops at the border. The leaders appointed over them should find ways, ask them, what do we need to help you do your job? Not threaten them. If you don't do what the president has ordered me to do, go look for another job. And then make very not so thinly veiled threats about possible even prosecution. That's the wrong way to lead, certainly our military, and certainly the wrong way to lead our law enforcement.
Have any